too, I just did a bunch of fluid flushes. I still got to put engine oil in it. But I was removing the radiator, so we're putting a KoyoRad in it because the inside of the radiator looked like that. I mean, it's nasty. It looks like a 90s GM with rotted deck spool in it. It's terrible. I figured just start over fresh. I'm going to pull the thermostat out, put it back on with no thermostat in it, and run the engine with the garden hose attached to it and just flush it out as best as I can. So we'll get the engine flushed out, put fresh antifreeze in it, a new radiator. The shroud was missing, so we're going to put a new shroud on it. And I don't know what the hell's going on here, but we're going to fix that. That's how I found it when I pulled the intake boots off. Yeah, look at that. Yummy. So what I'm going to do is hook up a garden hose to the upper hose here, send fresh water into the engine, and it can piss out through the lower hose and get it as clean as I can. We'll go from there. Mr. Hernandez brought us a SpecialtyZ exhaust to hang on. This final piece of the puzzle, and then this thing can go home. If I got my story straight, this was at the body shop for the last couple of years. I think he bought it like as a project car. It was supposedly a freshly built engine with some upgraded turbos. It looks like either GT25s or GT28s. So it was at a body shop for like 2 years. We finally got it out. Wanted all the fluids changed. It has fresh fuel in it already. Just a general evaluation. So we got all the rest of the work done, and now we're ready to put the exhaust on, and that should be the finale for this car. And he can come pick up and do the rest of the work it needs. It still needs some clutch pedal stop pads, brake pedal stop pads, because the brake lights are stuck on. You got to jam the pedal sideways a little bit to get it to start. He's going to do all that on his end. It still needs some engine work, some other odds and ends, but he's going to do some of the mechanicals on his own that don't require like having a lift and things like that. Alrighty, we got our specialty exhaust installed. Just got to install the O2 sensor plugs, which it didn't come with, but luckily I have a few. Customer's missing this hanger here. The rest was in the car. Got a broken rubber hanger on that side, but otherwise, nice looking exhaust. I'm gonna start it up, see how it sounds. SpecialtyZ exhaust.
I'm sure they can.
Man, you got photobombed by that F-35.
Yeah. but I did a couple of passes at least. So Caleb didn't want to work on a Cobalt, so I got stuck doing it.
Yeah.
And this is why Caleb didn't want to work on it, because this is slightly pre-bailout GM, 2008. And part of removing the clutch slave cylinder, where is it? There's a quick release little pin here. I say quick release. And the way to get it out is you yank the gas pedal up to get it to release, the clutch pedal. Problem is when you yank the pedal up, it breaks this little ear that drives your clutch switch. So I had to take this out over the on Friday and glue it back together so that it works again. So now I'm going to put it back together, and hopefully we got a working clutch after this. We're putting a new slave and master cylinder on this. So yeah, go GM.
Yeah, he sold it to the Snap-on guy.
Yeah. And one. Christian, you missed one. Oh, sorry.
Wow! What a dick!
Ooh, ah.
Man, that's the perfect size.
What?
The hole.
Yeah. Nice. So, my only complaint is the guy who cleaned them all up took all the tags off and didn't. Yeah. So luckily I know what's what. But yeah, I'm like, dude, that's like step one. Don't mix the tags up.
In the videos, he had the tag on them when they were getting milled.
Yeah, after the fact.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, luckily I know what's what.
That right there?
Mm-hmm.
Need that.
I mean, you could have sent your head, but you know, you didn't want to.
Mine was already done before this was an option.
Yeah, well, send it down. Very nice.
Where's one of those dimple ported ones?
Here's one. Yeah, there's one. I think I only did the P90s in dimple port. Very nice. All right, we're gonna get a up-close look on these LSpec ported heads. So I've got a P90 here, then I've got an N42. The N42 we have the chambers matched. This particular P90 we did not, but I do have, here's a P90 with matched chambers. They look really nice. And now initially, when I started inspecting these closer, I noticed the dimpling was not fully covered. So this is the best looking one. This is one of the P90s. And this one has the dimpling that's like, I'd say 95% coverage. Like we only missed a few spots here and there. And this is, you know, this really makes it apparent the level of core shift that these Datsun heads experience. You know, Nissan just didn't have really defined, you know, casting practices back then. And so here's an N42, and you can see like there are some areas where we didn't even touch. See, like here. And initially I was like, man, you know, the thing that honestly kind of pissed me off is that I wasn't told about this when I went ahead and did it. I mean, it is what it is. Like, it's all good. You know, John listened to me, bitch, I guess. But, you know, I told him, I was like, look, man, you really should advertise that you're not going to get full contact, because I was expecting full contact. I mean, I don't think it's an unreasonable expectation to, if you're going to dimple port, you get full contact. So initially I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to do anything with them, that I was going to have to grind it all smooth, but I talked to a couple of different engine builders that I chat with, as well as reached out to a few engine building boards that I'm in, and the general consensus seems to be just leave them alone, that it's a negligible, if any, difference. A lot of people still think they're gimmicks. I mean, it was no extra cost for me to have these dimpled, so I figured let's try them out. But the main thing is that the ports were significantly enlarged. So, but yeah, very pleased overall with the level of work and quality, because I can't get this kind of consistency by hand. And if I could, it would probably take me 2-3 weeks. I'm already strapped for time. Anyways, the areas where even the non-dimpled machining, like it just didn't contact here, I'm gonna go in and just hand smooth these with a small cartridge roll. Just smooth them out, just to give it some contact and even it out. And then we're gonna get these over to the machine shop to get guides pressed in. I have to order a bunch of more bronze guides to cover all these heads. But yeah, that's your in-depth look at the LSpec ported heads. So keep in mind, you know, if you decide to do dimple porting, you're not going to get guaranteed full coverage. The other thing is, even though it is CNC, just due to the amount of significant core shift across Datsun heads, it's not going to contact in all areas. Like, you are still going to have to do a little bit of work to them to smooth it out. This P90 here for Mr. Kanger is the best looking out of all of them, but it's still, you know, they still have some room for improvement. But it still beats the hell out of sitting in the porting room for 2 weeks per head. Got a rotted 2+2, getting a radiator and some other goodies. It's kind of been in and out of the shop for a little while now for various things, hoses, and it sat at another shop, and basically all the shop did was just take the guy's money repeatedly and didn't actually fix anything. And all the stuff that he got charged for, we're having to do. So yeah, that sucks for that guy, but we're gonna get it right. This car has sentimental value to him. I think it was his uncle's car or something like that, if I remember the story right. Finally have a big progress update. So, with the FutoFab revised stubs that are, well, I say revised, they're stubs for the 510, they fit the 280ZX. Now, you do have to trim in here just like when you do the S30s. Also have to do that on the ZX, and you have to do it with the Apex control arms. So that's why we were cutting up brand new Apex parts to get the FutoFab stuff to fit. But now he's got upgraded big axles that something else will break before those break. I gotta get Beau clips for these, for the parking brake. I'm gonna also give you some P-clamps. That's how I attach these on mine,
okay,
just P-clamps.
Yeah, I figured I'd have some type of bracket.
Yeah.
I didn't want them to flop around.
Where did his sway bar end up?
It's on the floor.
Okay.
Somewhere. It's here.
Yeah. So we still got the sway bar to do. Front and rear? No, the front's already in.
I think front.
Okay.
Yeah.
Couple heat cycles on this thing. It sounds significantly better now.
It hits on all 6.
Yeah, hits on all 6. Doesn't have lifters that are stuck open. We have to put a master cylinder in it because it quit pumping. We got no brake pedal pressure right now, but it's been sitting for a little while. So as soon as we get a master in it, we may actually be able to move this thing under its own power for the first time in a very long time. And we finally got Mr. Cleland's in for a ProtunerZ intake.
It's all laid out over here.
An internally gated GT30. We're going to update his intercooler kit to match our current design. Does it have a whistling throttle body?
We'll find out when it starts.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, here's the...
Oh yeah, he's going to have an old rail that...
Yeah, it needs to be, well, it's getting a ProtunerZ rail, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, he was before the update.
Yeah, I saw.
So.
It doesn't even have the Made in America
Yeah.
badge. That's like mine.
So you saw everything in Monday on this?
Yeah.
It's all updated?
Yeah, I figured. But I want to put the new turbo on
Yeah.
and see how it all clocks. See all that stuff first.
Got our internally gated ball bearing GT30 turbo. Oh, do I need to order a bracket, or you can be able to rotate it?
No, we shouldn't need to.
Okay.
Because it sits below
Yeah,
the
just
manifold.
rotate.
See? We shouldn't need to.
Oh, okay. Guess we'll find out.
But it's supposed to be a stock replacement.
Well,
for-
stock
for
replacement
RB.
for an RB, yeah.
But like, see what I mean? That's
Yeah.
how it's clocked.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we'll get lucky.
I'm sure the RBs are probably clocked exactly
Yeah.
the same.
Guess we'll see. Yeah, we're gonna need to talk him into doing some catch cans, because that ain't gonna fly.
Yeah, you like that?
I mean, it works, but it's not. Yeah. All right.
That and we noticed. So he has the R134 conversion fitting,
Mm-hmm.
but he took out the receiver dryer and then the line that just goes from here to there. That's it. That's the only
Oh.
thing missing.
I wonder if he plans on putting AC back in,
Well, this is blocked too.
Yeah.
See?
So I'll have to ask him. If not, maybe we can be like, hey, do you want to remove the compressor and we can do a
Cold air intake?
yeah, proper intake setup?
And we can have another compressor.
Huh?
And we can have another compressor.
Yeah. Cool. All right. All right. First look. Oh, you just took the factory turbo off to see how it cleared?
Yeah.
Nice.
'Cause I just wanted to see, because we haven't mocked one up yet.
Yeah.
So see how it's just too high up in there. But see how this already has an angle in it?
Yeah.
And it's adjustable right here. They're slotted. So
Right.
I can rotate it. I just want
Rotate
to
it onto
switch
the
them.
next holes.
Yeah, I want to switch them over
Yeah.
to where, you know, ideally
Okay.
the wastegate's right up top. And
Yeah.
the outlet is
Nice.
like right here.
Yeah, it fits in there pretty nice, and it looks like it's got a ton of room too.
Yeah, it doesn't hit anything.
Yeah.
Even the compressor house, you can see all up in here.
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah, so any customers that get it, you will have to clock it
Yeah.
slightly.
Okay.
Let's go blind Beau with the camera, see what this dude's doing. I forgot this dude's name, but I know his last name is Cleland. What's his first name?
Bill?
Phil? Yeah, we're finally tearing into this car. All the goodies are up top, and you can't see them. You can kind of see that. GT30, RB25 soft replacement turbo. So, fancy parts. Beau has to make the downpipe to fit the rest of the exhaust. Right now we're pulling the pad down to do a drain plug, or not drain plug, the oil drain, turbo drain, whatever. Yeah. You gotta replace the steering rack because he has a T3 rack. So that's pretty cool. I like T3 parts. I want to buy some T3 arms for my car, but I don't want to spend $800 on them. So, yeah. This car does have one of our kits in it for the TL70. Solid car for sure.
And Mr. Cleland's car is moving along. If the intercooler piping on that side is going to be vastly different, let's template it. Because I've had a few people that have sent their charge pipes back with ProtunerZ stuff. Like the blow-off valve interferes or this or that happens. So it'd probably be a good idea to change where we put the blow-off valve on all ProtunerZ orders moving forward.
Yeah. ProTuner, so it's the blow-off valve that usually
Yes.
hits stuff, right? What if we make ProTuner like this? So they can put it how they need it.
I mean, we could. I just like the idea of solid welded charge pipes, which is what we're doing with this.
Yeah.
Thanks. Well, the turbo looks good in there.
Yeah. It theoretically could run. It just wouldn't have any boost. Or
Yeah.
anything.
Cool. Did it come with a block-off plate for the... Yeah.
Yes.
I see. Okay. Hopefully this one doesn't whistle.
Yeah, we'll see.
Man, as far as heat shield,
Literally the only bolts on the bottom of this are right here.
yeah.
That's it.
Well, what if we bolted it to the turbo manifold instead? Even if you have to weld like little 10mm nuts, like we did on Johnson's
Like
header?
Johnson's, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would just be a whole lot easier out of the car.
Oh, I didn't realize you bolted everything together already.
Oh yeah, it's together.
Or we could use... I mean, hell, even if you did make it bolt to the throttle cable bracket, I don't care. Throttle cable bracket and maybe run an L bracket off the downpipe or something? Would that be easier?
Like one of these.
Yeah. So put an L bracket there and then just make it bolt to like, or even an L bracket on here or something.
I could make my own version of one
Yeah.
of these.
Yeah, I'm cool with just path of least resistance if it's easier to just make something bolt to those two areas. We just need the heat to not soak into the manifold.
Yeah. So how far deep do you want it?
As far as you can go,
Okay.
reasonably. I have realistic expectations.
Okay.
So,
So like roughly here.
yeah, I mean, any bit we can do is going to help. Looks good.
So see what I mean? There's still
Yeah.
a little bit right there.
I'm not so much worried about the heat at the runners. It's mainly going to be there.
Right there.
Just a lot of heat gets... radiant heat gets there.
Yeah. So the only available bolts are these two,
Uh-huh.
and I made this one. The bolts are right there off
Yeah.
the turbo.
Okay.
So it just comes up and goes all the way down, and it puts
Yeah.
the tension over there,
All
so
right.
it doesn't rattle. Doesn't
Yeah.
do anything.
We'll get the job done. And then,
And I had to. So usually I like to have them follow this.
Right.
But I didn't want to because of this.
yeah.
I don't think it'll be an issue, but I didn't want to find out.
Safe and sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So.
Well, we'll powder coat it whatever color. I don't remember what we're going to do for the pipes, what color, but yeah, just match it basically. Cool. So we have another ProtunerZ intake. Let us know in the comments below if you think it's going to whistle at startup. Hell. Hell yeah, brother.
Junk. Junk.
Bad.
Bad junk. Oh man. Oh no. Oh, here. Oh no. That's so bad.
Johnson's, and now you gotta take it all back apart.
Yep.
I'm getting paid if I gotta take it back apart. Not my parts.
So the fix on Johnson's was to goop it up with some sealant, but the problem with that is the sealant could go whoop and suck in the motor. So
Well, he got the same ProtunerZ
yeah,
intake, and
it's not
the first
ideal.
time we first started up, it did the same thing,
That's bad.
but this one's a lot louder.
Why did your Uribe's car didn't do that?
I don't know.
Well, time to hit up Johnson.
Can we
Be like,
bolt
"Hey,
on a non-ProTuner throttle body?
They don't bolt on. They're their own bolt
That's it.
pattern.
That's his own flange, huh?
Ooh. Gotta get this on film. Hey, calm down, street takeover. Nice. Lowered car life.
Look, his flaps are literally
Yeah.
riding on the ground.
You got that on camera.
I did. I got part of it. Cool. Caleb made a score a couple weeks ago. This is, we're diagnosing a misfire, right?
Yeah.
The next step in
This
the
will fix the misfire, 100%.
the next step on the service manual is R&R engine.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
He got two V8s on this thing.
Is it?
Yeah. So it has an internal EGR port,
Yeah.
but the intake manifold has an EGR like outside.
Right.
It's not supposed to. The internet says it has one or the other. This has both. So that's
Interesting.
super duper gay.
Yeah.
And I was gonna try and take the manifold off, but so I broke this bolt and I broke that bolt on my motor.
Yeah.
And they all felt really tight. All this has to do is work. So I'm just gonna use that intake manifold. Just-
Why don't you try my nut buster thing and see if?
well, it's not the problem here. This is a stud.
Well, I know the heat will make its way further down.
I don't really want to risk it because if I break the bolts, the heads have to come off.
Yeah. But
I don't want to do that.
I mean, at least you get your truck back because the motor's not under it anymore.
Well, it's gonna come back. This is gonna come back out.
Yeah. All right.
We'll see. You'll notice that it's dark outside, and it's not wintertime. I'm wearing shorts. It's because we're working on my truck. Early June, mid-June, it developed a misfire. Didn't know what it was. Replaced everything that I could on the outside. and it didn't go away. I put in known good coil packs, plugged wires, put an injector in it, redid the harness. Like, I did everything I could. Checked the ECU, everything was working. So after many nights, this is where we are. I have a new to me Explorer 5.0. Earlier today, I stopped working on like customer stuff at 1 o'clock after lunch, and earlier this was a fully dressed long block with transmission over there. My AODE, if you want it, let me know. This engine transmission is out of a 98, so I have this is all the crap that came off that whole assembly. I have to use this intake because it has internal EGR, even though it has external EGR. You can see here, there's that, and there's also the ACT boss right there. 98 is supposed to be external only, but I guess it was a mid-year thing. And you can see my intake. This is an 01 engine, no internal EGR, only external. And me and Beau modified these headers to accept EGR. They didn't come that way. I found them on eBay. These are the notorious torque monster headers for Explorer and Mercury 5.0s. They're the only thing that really fits in this chassis without having to modify everything. I know there's a bunch of part numbers and there's some different ones that do fit, but this is that bitch. Basically, if you know, you know. I got them. I got lucky on eBay, found them. So since this one is a 98, it has a cast aluminum oil pan. It's not a dual sump, I don't think, but it's cast aluminum, so it's different. I'm gonna put my stamped steel pan on it. But I mean, internally, it's pretty good. 198,000 or 190,000, not 198. Not bad, not great, but it's better than my motor. This is the exhaust I made almost a year ago. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, we're kind of just going through the whole thing and redoing it. I drained the oil earlier, and just to humor myself, I was like, okay, you know, let me get a light. So I peek at it while it's draining. I have like the drain plug loose and it's like dripping out. And I'm like, looks a little metallic-y. So I pull the drain plug out, look at the light, it's metal. God damn it. So I don't know exactly what happened to this engine. I don't know if it clogged up a lifter and it ate a cam lobe or what, but it had a misfire and I couldn't fix it on the outside, so it must have been internal. Yeah, it's glittery. It looked like a break-in engine, like with all fresh stuff. So I don't know, I'll tear into it and find out what's wrong, and I'll see what it is. I have a wiring harness. I have return fuel rail system. If one of you nerds watching this video happen to be needing 5.0 Explorer parts out of a 96 to, I guess, early 98. Yeah, I have some. Don't ask about anything on here though. It's all mine. Well, it's the next day. The engine is no longer in the truck. So this is my 2001 Mercury 5.0, which is it's the same thing as the Explorer. But I don't think the Explorer was offered in 01. I think only the Mercury was. So I have a cast or a stamped steel oil pan. I'm gonna put this pan on the new motor because I think this one's a little bit lower profile and I need that. I'm gonna put my valve covers on it because I'm gonna reuse my gaskets. Minor cleaner if there's no metal in it. I'm gonna pull the pan off. I took the oil filter pedestal off. I'm gonna use this on the other motor as well because mine doesn't have the oil cooler and the other 98 has the oil cooler and I don't want that. It's 12:30, it got here at about, I don't know, 9:30 or so. I'm going to, you're supposed to, when you do this swap, you're supposed to hammer in all that right there, that little flange. I didn't do that and it made it a complete bitch. I'm also gonna try and get rid of that because, I mean, honestly, what's it doing? And the header was hitting the firewall there, that little clean spot, because the engine was so far back. So I'm gonna move the engine forward a little bit, try and get rid of these spacers I have here, because the oil pan was sitting on the steering rack. So I did that so it wouldn't do that. So we'll see if I can get rid of those. I have some new mounts, but to replace the mounts, it's a huge cock. You're supposed to take the coil spring out and go underneath, and it's a huge pain in the ass. So we'll see if I actually do that or not. before I pulled the trans out, I pulled the pan down, got rid of all the fluid, and put a new filter in it because I didn't do that when I did the swap either. So that should be ready to go back in once I clean up this one. I'll like vacuum the intake and take the oil pan off, put the timing cover on, water pump. I'm gonna use my water pump because my water pump is only 3 years old and it's an actual Ford pump. So, yep, just making progress. I got the oil pan off. I also got my headrest put on that one over there. So let's go for a swim, huh? Can't really see a whole lot in there. Let's see if I can stick this to something. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at all that metal. Yep. She's cooked. That's bad, dude. She's cooked. Sparkle, sparkle. Yep. So that's what I got greedy with when I during the oil. Not very fun, but you know, it's not a huge deal because like when we're in the situation, we already have an engine, so not that big of a deal. The headers are significantly easier to install when there's absolutely nothing in the way. I guess I'll find some wood that thing can sit on. I don't know. So I gotta put that pan on that motor and then put that motor in the air. Well, it's Sunday. Here again. But there's an engine in the truck. It might work, it might not. Stayed here until about 8:30 last night. And I got everything underneath the truck done. Transmission installed, engine installed, exhaust on. Everything that I could do last night under here I did, because I did not want to be suffering under here today at all. So the rest of today should be lower the truck down and then just put together the top of the engine. Dude, if it doesn't work, I'm gonna throw a fit, honestly. So one of the problems I had before with this engine setup is I had it positioned really far backwards, and that wasn't necessarily on purpose, but I mean, it's just kind of where it went. So this time around, I positioned the engine more forward, and I have a very small gap between the oil pan and the cross member, but a gap is a gap, so it should be fine. The engine was hitting the firewall back there. Let's see, move that out of the way, or not. But there's a couple of dents back there, you can't see. There's a couple of dents in the firewall from the cylinder head was hitting it, and then that back header tube was also hitting it. But yeah, I mean, the engine, honestly, it went right in, didn't fight me at all, so that's cool. I bought a new radiator. This is a dual core, the thicker one. Instead, I had the V6 radiator in here for the past 3 years, and it works until it's 110 degrees outside. You have the AC on, and you're not moving, and it gets hot. So I brought I have the 5-liter fan shroud still from my donor car, bigger radiator. Just trying to kind of do it better the second time around, you know. Today, this will be a running and driving vehicle. I have a check engine light. I have the hood on now and the bumper. My buddy came by and helped me put that on real quick. Last clip ended with me saying I have a check engine light, and it's because I do. The engine that I bought was allegedly a 98, which should have been the same as mine, but as I showed you earlier, it's not. So the only thing I didn't change was the balancer, and it has the tooth wheel for the crank sensor and all that. And my crank sensor is my crank sensor is a 2-wire, and the sensor on the other one was a 3-wire. So I changed my sensor over, but I did not change the balancer. And the check engine light was for a camshaft position code, and I didn't have that before. I didn't have any check engine light before at all. So now I get to, hopefully, I can just pull the fan and the shroud out. We'll see. I just put the big mega stendo radiator in it. Big chonker, look at that thing. And now it's probably gonna be in the way of the balancer coming off, so. Woo. I don't know, flying box. I don't know what the difference is, but something different, and I need that. All right, I had it wrong. So I don't have to pull the balancer off because I looked at mine and the part number that's on it, which you can barely see, that part number is exactly the same as the part number that's on this engine. So before you get gung-ho and you start yanking shit out, do a little bit of research, use your brain a little bit, might save you. Also, when you're using your brain, make sure that you remember that goes like that. So this is if you don't know Ford shit, this is a camshaft synchronizer. It basically goes exactly where a distributor would go, except it just goes woo, 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 and it tells the little sensor it spins. So I referenced an old picture I had. I vaguely remember when I took my other engine apart, I was like, oh yeah, TBC is TBC, it's fine. I'll just have to remember where it goes. And I took a picture and it was 180 out. So instead of being on the bottom, it's the top. So that's the only thing I can think of that would throw the code. I took it 180, put it facing forward. Yeah, put it back together and we'll see if it actually works. It's still Sunday. You'll notice that I'm walking around in an open space and you don't see the truck behind me. It's because it is outside. You might notice that I'm not super enthused. It's got a check engine light. P0340. Yeah. That's camshaft position sensor. I don't know if it's because I touched it. I mean, I don't know. That's all I did. I pulled it out and I put it back in. There's a few theories online. The DPFE can take it out. I'm just gonna start throwing parts at it again. I mean, the way I look at it, everything on this engine's 20 years old. So, I mean, whatever I do isn't really gonna hurt it. You know, it's only gonna benefit. Yeah, it's in there, it works, it runs, it drives. It drives decent. I mean, it's a little lacking on power because the timing is weird because it doesn't know what to do, but I got my big radiator in there. I mean, I feel pretty good about it, especially for a basically 3-day engine swap. I'm just bummed out. Understandably so, right? Car's good though. I got nothing wrong with this. It's been my daily driver for the past 2 months when my truck's been broken. Radiator in this also blew up, but I put one in there, Champion 2-core, and it's mint. That's all I got. Hope you all enjoyed that as much as I hated it. What's wrong? Beau, it's hot outside. Is it not hot outside?
No, it is pretty hot.
Yeah, it is hot.
It is pretty hot.
That's what I'm saying.
It is pretty hot
It's hot
outside.
outside.
It's pretty
Yeah.
hot.
Boy. He's scared. You don't know what's going on. Nobody's safe. Nobody. We got Whitfield's car back in here. Hopefully this time it actually comes out under its own power. If you remember last time this car was in here, we put the revised 8.8 in and got it to work, sort of. I need to align the car again. Don't look at the alignment, it's bad. But I have axles built. The camera will actually work. I got axles built today. So they're actually correct now. And I also have brakes. And these are all the tools I'm going to need to put them in. A knife, a hammer, a pry bar, and some lights and some water. That's it. I'm not going to use any of the tools. Literally just going to smash them on, and it's going to be just fine. Yeah. We'll see how that goes today. I also need to drill holes in the car to mount the transmission because the chain isn't going to stay there. I got to take the shifter out so we can modify the shifter. Lots of stuff to do. So, as far as this setup goes, I don't know if it's right. This is what I have. So when Apex sent me the caliper adapters, he also sent these little shims, which is this shim. I put that on because if I didn't have this spacer, the rotor was too far in and the caliper wouldn't fit in here. So I put the shim in, and now the rotor is somewhat centered in the caliper. But now you can see these spacers there. I don't really like that. However, I thought these were for, where are the bolts? I lost the bolts. Oh, they're there. I thought these were like little shoulders for the bolts to sit on to disperse the load, but they happen to be exactly the same, or exactly the right size in order for the caliper to even fit. The caliper is like super duper close to the ears. Kind of see it on this side. I haven't done yet, but those ears right there, the caliper is super close to them, and those spacers make it actually fit. Yeah. See that? So I don't really know. I don't know if it's right. It doesn't feel right, but it looks right. I'll put the rotor on and see if it's actually centered, and then go from there. All right, I got the rotor on with the caliper. Brake pads are in. It's pretty centered, not perfect, but it's close enough, I guess. You can see I have some pad overhang there. So that means the washers that I put in that make the thing work are too big, or I don't need them. So I actually do have to cut these off. So that's fun. That's what I wanted to do today, is modify parts that I shouldn't have to modify. But whatever, dude. At least it's on, I guess. It's bolted on, so there's that. Alright, so now that there's not a whole brake assembly here in the way, you can see where I marked. So that whole ear needs to get cut off. Like that. I have it traced around there because the caliper kind of follows that same shape, so I don't want to trim it twice, so I'm just going to cut it all off. I mean, I don't really know what else to do. There's not, as far as I can tell, there's not another way to do that, so I guess I'll get the grinder out. I cut off more from one side than the other because I didn't really care to get the grinder in there perfectly. I don't like using the angle grinder, it's scary. It should fit now. There you go. It's got brakes now. I don't have any pad gap anymore like I did before. Everything looks good. So Yep, all you gotta do is modify the parts that shouldn't be modified. I have both sides with brakes now. I have some complaints, as usual. The brakes aren't even hooked up, but I can't spin the rotor because the tolerance is wrong. So, I mean, can't really say I'm really surprised, but I am. So you can see here, maybe, there's a gap, small gap between here and here. So you can also see the center line of the caliper is not in the center line of the rotor. So if this gap was moved over, and that means this gap would move over, which means that these were drilled incorrectly in the wrong spot, which means that the pad up here is rubbing on the rotor at all times. So that's super cool. The other side that I did first isn't like that, but that side is, so that's pretty annoying because it's not really my fault, yet I gotta deal with it. So yeah. But yeah, the axles fit though, so that's cool. That one fits and that one fits. It's not bolted in because I don't have bolts, but I mean, it's there, I guess. This side works for the most part, sort of. But this side, I mean, it's hard to turn. I can't even turn it actually, so yeah. Not stoked.
So Caleb, Jackson, and Ohm had a bit of a conference call on this thing yesterday to discuss like the brake fitment issues, the cable fitment issues, things like that. So I think we're kind of in a holding pattern on that, but for now they're moving on to the trans, which they're doing this, doing the mount, and I'm waiting for the reverse lockout plunger to come in, which will be here today. We just sent the shifter off. We found a company called Granis Racing that actually modifies these shifters for the Supras, IS300s, and other vehicles with Tremec swaps. And so we actually did it on Mr. Everson's car. It should be here today. We're waiting to receive it so that we can see how it fits, and ideally it fits with the factory console. So if you're doing one of these LS swaps or Tremec transmission swaps, if you have a factory console, the shifter's not going to clear. I haven't found any remote shifters off the shelf that fit, so that's why we're having that one modified. But if you're running the skillered interior plate like Mr. Pena, it will clear. So keep that in mind. He also approved a painless harness, so we're going to rewire this whole car while it's all apart. Caleb's working on a battery drain. Well, we're finishing up August. And if you can't tell by looking outside, there's rain, which means it's not 110 degrees anymore, which is really nice. I think we lost about 20 to 30 degrees outside temp, depending on the time of day. So that's been really nice. Finally back for his stroker. It's like McPherson's with the ITBs. You gotta, don't be shy with it. That looks so much better than the last time it was here. You notice the rear bumper delete? It's got the, yeah, it's got the hot rod chop suey.
Yeah, kind of. But I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only 280ZX I've seen looks good.
What's that?
So that's the only 280ZX I've seen looks good.
You're about to get flamed in the comments. Stage 4 Schneider turbo cam. It's a 290-80F. Yeah, dude, that thing sounds badass.
It's crazy.
Well, we're wrapping up August. I've had a few daily drivers in. Shout out to Mr. Stornello. He's been a customer of ours since 2018. That Infinity used to be owned by Courtney. It went to a guy out in Florida named Mr. Kozlowski. But he frequently travels back this way, so he has us do all of his repairs and maintenance while it's in town. Like I said, Mr. Avery is back for his 3.1 Rebello stroker bottom end. We ported the head a couple of winters ago and set him up with the 292 cam. So we've got this coming in for the stroker finally. We have also got a vintage air that we're going to be installing and filming an install video on. But yeah, it's another end of the month. I don't know what happened last month for July, but July's vlog tracked way ahead of our normal analytics. So I don't know if maybe because that video was shorter than the last several, it attracted more viewers, or the intro was just more calculated and well thought out. I really spent a lot of time working on that intro to get it nailed down, and I learned some new skills along the way. So I don't know why, but thank you guys for watching that at a higher volume. Maybe we can keep that trend going. Mr. Cleland's is just waiting on some tuning. We had a slave cylinder stick extended out and fail on us. So we got that in, we had to put a wideband in it. We're just waiting for it to not be raining, and I can finish tuning it. And then it can go home. With Beau having swapped his cam now, it has highly motivated me to do my cam and fix my exhaust finally. Trying to get it to roll up.
Yeah. Mine's broken.
I already cleaned it once. Yeah, now that it's not 110 degrees, damn, this dude can't drive. Now that it's not 110 degrees outside, I'm going to be a lot more highly motivated to finish my turbo manifold and put my cam in, and I also have my LSpec head back. So I need to get that thing machined and ready to drop in. I'd like to swap that head with the cam on. Just keep it on my stock bottom end for now. This one, just waiting on finalizing the tune. I did quite a bit of tuning on it now that we got all the electrical working. AC's up and running. I need to talk to her about the heater. The heater still doesn't work, and I think one of her gauges are defective, but that's really it. Just needs to get a good wash, a clean up, and detail. And we can go home to Arkansas. We've also got Everson's leaving by the 15th. He went to Japan, so when he's back from Japan, we're going to schedule pickup for that. We're done with the 500-mile break-in procedure. So he's ready to go back home. Mr. Pena, Colby and I finished shooting his car last week. I just got to finish the filming for the Building Legends episode, and we're in quality control mode for that. But, you know, with the rain, we can't really, there's very little we can do when it's raining like this as far as driving Z cars up and down the street safely. So yeah, we have those two projects leaving finally. They have been very long-term projects, and I know both of those customers are going to be very happy to have their Z cars back. See that? That's working electricity. Both V8 cars are leaving. Are you saying that you build better V8 cars than Caleb?
I'm just saying my wiring works in that car.
All right, YouTube, we need to have 2 people bring their cars in for LS swaps, and we're going to do a shoot-off between Caleb and Beau.
Do you know why the wires work in that car?
Why? Because you helped diagnose?
I helped him do it. He was like, dude, I don't know where the reverse wires are. I was like, Beau, they're right here.
So what you're saying is BMW factory training, Sears out of business training? Chris training, okay.
School of hard knocks,
Yeah.
stock training. Here he gets yelled at.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we covered pretty much all the highlights coming into September. So, as always, appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Tell your friends about us. Share this video. Interact with us in the comments. Every time you leave a comment, I don't care what it is. If it's a smiley face, a thumbs up, thumbs down, I don't care what it is. It helps the algorithm keep the videos relevant in people's feeds, and it tosses them to more and more people. So the more you guys comment, the more it helps support our channel, and the closer it moves us to monetization. That's going to be a wrap for the August 2024 vlog. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch you next month.